Hi everyone, this is Dr. D, and I'm standing in front of the Cathedral Rock just outside of Sedona. And this is really for part 2 of the blog concerning how our body controls our blood sugar. And today I want to talk to you in this blog about how things go awry. In the first blog we talked about how the body gets this feedback loop, and it tells the brain, the cells in the body tell the brain what the blood sugar level is doing, and then the brain sends a message down to our pancreas to secrete insulin. And insulin is a hormone that brings our blood sugar back down into normal range. So talked a little bit more detail about that on the blog that preceded this one. But now I want to talk to you about how things go awry. And to really do that, I need to tell you a little bit of a quick story about when I was about middle school age. We moved out in Idaho, out to this old farmhouse. And in front of the farmhouse was a 2-lane road, and right next to that was a train track. And what we didn't realize when we bought the place was that 15 plus trains a day would go barreling by there at 55, 60 miles an hour. So you can imagine, as the trains first went by, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're sound asleep, and this train goes barreling by. The house would literally shake, and it would be so loud that you literally just could hear the roar of the train. So you can imagine your heart's just a-pounding, you wake up, your eyes are wide open, and it just literally was startling. But guess what happened after a while, the longer that we lived there? It got to the point where we didn't even hear the train going by. Now, was the train still going by the house 15 plus times a day? Absolutely it was. Was it making the same volume of sound? Absolutely it was. But literally we got so used to the high frequency of trains going by that we literally started to ignore the trains, didn't even notice them, until maybe a friend or somebody would come over, and then their heart would do this and their eyes would get this big. And it'd take us a second to figure out what's wrong. Oh yeah, don't worry, that's just the train going by. Well, see, our body does the exact same thing, in that if we constantly having, if you will, sugar trains going by, because we're eating the standard American diet, SAD, it really is sad. Because what it does is it spikes our blood sugar throughout the day as we eat and we snack and we eat again and then we snack, and we eat all of these highly processed foods which have lots of natural and added sugars in them. And then maybe we have sweet tea, or we add sugar to our coffee. We're constantly spiking our blood sugar, which is resulting in this constant message going up to the brain, alarms going off. The brain then tells the pancreas to secrete lots of insulin to try to bring our blood sugar down. And it's doing this multiple times a day, just like those multiple trains going by the house. And after a while, your cells, the receptor sites that we talked about in the first blog, those insulin receptor sites, what they end up doing is, after a while, just like we did to those trains, is those receptor sites literally start to ignore the insulin that's trying to plug in. And we have a name for that, and that is referred to as insulin resistance, also known as prediabetes. So see, you don't get type 2 diabetes because of a lack of insulin, that the body can't produce the insulin. You get it as a result of these receptor sites starting to shut down and ignore the insulin, and that's because we had so many insulin trains flying by our house, our cells in our body. So there's a key point, there's a take-home point for you. It's not because of not enough insulin, it's because of way too much insulin being released way too frequently, multiple times a day, just like multiple trains going by that house. And remember about insulin, it does a very important good thing, but when we have too much of it, also remember that insulin is a fat-storing hormone, and insulin is a pro-inflammatory hormone. So it has some negative effects in that regard too. One of the key things that I want you to remember about this is that you have a ton of control over how many blood sugar spikes, how many glucose spikes you get in a day. And that is controlled by our choices of how we eat and how we exercise. So this is Dr. D in Sedona, Arizona, and I hope you found this helpful. Remember to eat right, exercise, and I'll see you next time.